right. So what we've been talking about up until this point is when we look at persuasive articles, when we look at essays, we've talked about things that go in them to make them persuasive. Ethos, pathos, logos, allusions, rhetorical question, parallel structure. But now what we need to talk about is not what goes in it, but physically how they're put onto paper. And that's where we're going to get to our objective today. We're going to talk about organizational patterns. So you should by today be able to say that you can define and identify different ones. The first thing you're going to do on your guided notes, go ahead and copy down what's on this screen. We're going to talk about 4 organizational patterns specifically. Now there are a ton more, but these are the ones we're going to focus on. It's going to be cause and effect, comparison and contrast, problem and solution, and chronological sequence or chronological order. So go ahead and get those copied onto your guided notes. Go ahead and get those copied onto your guided notes. You'll notice that if you don't get them all right now, we're going to talk about them all right under it. So if you're missing one, it's okay. We'll get to it here in a second. The first one that we are going to talk about is cause and effect. When we talk about cause and effect, we're talking about a cause or a reason that something happened, answering the question, why did this happen? The effect is the result. It answers the question, what happened? And those are some of your key words. If you see those words, it kind of hints at the fact that it's probably cause and effect. If I asked you to write an article or an essay that was cause and effect, what's a topic you could potentially use?
French fries are good.
But that, I mean, there's no cause and effect relationship there.
The cause, they make you fat. The effect, you like it.
So you're saying you like being fat?
Or you can say, I like French
eating
fries.
Go ahead.
You like fries, but the effect is if you like it so much that you be fat.
There you go. The cause is eating too much, let's say, fast food or too many fries. The effect is gaining weight. Justice, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I like French fries, but they make me fat.
Okay, so same idea. You could also talk about global warming. The cause is global warming. The effect is melting glaciers, rising oceans, bad storms, things like that. The second one we're going to talk about is compare and contrast. It's an organizational pattern in which 2 or more things are looked at according to their similarities and differences. We've written one of these this year. When did we do that? Compare and contrast essay. When did we do that?
On the research.
The research paper. When we talked about the comparison and the contrasting of genocides, okay, that was compare and contrast format. Next one. Problem solution. A lot of people get problem solution and cause and effect mixed up. So be careful. The reason people get it mixed up is because they often look at the cause and the problem as being the same. And truthfully, they can be the same. So you have to look at the rest of the essay. If the rest of the essay is offering solutions, then it's problem solution. If the rest of the essay is looking at effects and just what happened, then it's cause and effect. But you need to make sure that you look at it carefully. Going back to the global warming example, I could say the cause is global warming, the effect is rising oceans. I could also say that the problem is global warming and then offer solutions on how to fix those problems. Say it again, please.
Would the problem be the water raising?
Depends how you want to look at it. The problem could be the global warming, which causes the water to rise, but either one would work. Yeah. The last one is chronological sequence. It's an organizational pattern in which the author presents text in time order, or the order in which steps or events occur. Those of you who remember your Latin and Greek roots, if you see CHRONO, that deals with time. Chronological order will often deal with time, whether it be time of the day, time of the year, months, years in general. But it can also be a list of steps or a list of events. What kind of writing might you see that in? Tim?
Recipes?
Recipes or instructions, absolutely. Okay, so anything that's put in order of steps or time, you want to think chronological. Say it again, Justice.
I was gonna say,
Is what?
History.
Yes, history book is certainly an example of that. Absolutely. Once you get that written, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to look at the paper that has this. Everybody look up here for me. Everybody look up here. Still waiting for a couple people. All right, so we have this paragraph. Raise your hand if you put A. Raise your hand if you put B.
to be for what?
This paragraph. C. D. The answer here, guys, is D. It is a sequence of dates and events. We also are going to call this what?
Chronological order.
Chronological order. Let's take a look at this for 1 second. Ashley, what is the main idea of this paragraph? Just main idea. What's it about?
About Webb.
Okay. It's about Kate Webb, and what about Kate Webb?
About her life, probably?
It's about her job. Okay, her career. So that's what the main idea is. Now we need to look at how it's organized, organizational pattern. It goes by dates. Okay, so it says in the 1960s she was in Indonesia. 1967 she was in Vietnam. 1971 she was in Cambodia. A sequence of dates, and when we talk about dates, we talk about time, talk about an order. It is going to be chronological every time. Not timeline, chronological. Are you saying a timeline would be one? Yes, a timeline would be one. Turn the papers over. Let's talk about your answers for these. And there's a bigger point that I would like to make with these. The order should go first, second, third, finally, after, and it should be chronological order, chronological sequence.
Can we just say chronological? Oh, we didn't do that.
For this, fine, but on a test, you want to make sure you say order.
Alright,
Now, these words up here that are in the box serve two purposes. The first one is called transitional words or transitional phrases. Justice, what do you think those do?
different,
A transitional word or phrase, what would you think that would do?
like different words you can use.
They start off like different things. Like in our essays that we do, we always go first, second, third, and then finally.
Okay, so they transition or bring you to a new idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that a transitional sentence or a transitional phrase or a transitional word brings you to a new idea. Do you agree that each of these are bringing you to a new idea?
Yes.
Okay. Did you say no, Justice? No, you didn't say no, or yes, you did say no?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. These are also doing something else for you. A lot of people, when they try to figure out the type of organizational pattern, they just kind of read it and try to see it. But I want you to look at something. If you know that chronological order deals with time or sequence, and you see transitional words like first, second, third, fourth, finally, after, things like that, those transitional phrases tell you it's chronological. They're key words. Let's look at a second one and you'll understand why. Take a look at the second one here. Goes despite, however, difference, in contrast. I would also accept if you switched however and in contrast. When do we use that word despite?
Like,
When we're saying,
Justice, go ahead.
I can't really think. I know what it. I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't really get it out.
like,
Sarah?
like when you're canceling yourself out, like having an argument with the two things that you're talking about, you'll be like for I know what I'm talking about. Like you say like one thing, and then you'll be like, and despite this.
Okay, yeah. You'll say one thing, and when you say despite that, what that means is, I've said this, we recognize what just came out of my mouth, yet on the other hand, or but.
Is it despite like ignore?
That's spite, S-P-I-T-E, not despite.
So it's not like ignore.
It's not the same word, no.
I never heard this word in my life. So.
That one, new word today.
Despite.
Despite.
Despite doing this.
No. We'll talk about that in a moment.
So like, no, we don't learn it. I don't know.
Okay.
Despite.
Look at it, look here. It says reading a book is always much better than reading a movie based on a book. Despite the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Even though we've said that and heard that and accept that, a book is able to give can give much more information. When we use that word despite, we're saying this might be true, but
this is better.
or different in some way. When we talk about something and then we say it's different or similar, guys, that is a key that it's compare and contrast. We even use the word down here, in contrast. Same with the word however. When do we use the word however?
Whenever we're having an argument, or given two examples.
We use it almost the same way we use despite. However, already knowing this, we have another way.
And give like another example. I'll give another reason.
It's a giving an opposite example of whatever was just said. So we know that's compare and contrast. And if we come down to this third one, we see that this is compare and contrast, but for a different reason. This is compare and contrast for a different reason. Ishmael, do me a favor. Look on your guided notes, the definition of compare and contrast. Read it for us.
Compare and contrast. An organizational pattern in which the author organizes information about two or more topics according to their similarities and differences.
Excellent. What I want you to key in on is two or more ideas or items. Two or more ideas. If we're talking about two different things in the same breath, if we're putting them together, we're probably looking at how they are similar and different. Look at the example up here. We have two kinds of laws. Then we talk about one type. Then we talk about another type in 15. But then we talk about both of them in these types. This is a very clear case of compare and contrast. Now, who put problem solution for this one? Anybody?
I put cause and effect.
You put cause and effect. Okay. What's the cause?
The laws are the cause.
So what's happened because of the laws? What's the effect as a result of the laws?
A number of states such as South Carolina have safe haven laws.
Okay, but that still is talking about the laws. That's not the effect of the laws.
And the people don't want the laws to happen.
Where do you see that?
Because it says the parents.
What did they do laws?
What you're doing is you're trying to make it fit. You're seeing what you want to see. There is nothing causing something else here. And we can even see that in the title. Laws that protect children. We know this is about what? The laws. This is only about the laws. And then it discusses the laws here. It's not talking about how one causes another. It's not talking about child abuse and the solutions to them. All it's doing is talking about the laws. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay. Raising of hands, who at least has a functional understanding of organizational patterns at this point?
I do. I guarantee you, sir.
Okay. One thing I want you to remember when you're trying to figure this out, look at these transitional words. The transitional words will help you immensely. Here's what I'd like you to do next. Take a look, please, at the paper called Make Healthier Fast Food Choices. Take a look at the paper, please. It's called Make Healthier Fast Food Choices. you should basically have 2 papers left that you have not looked at today. One is an article, and one is 5 or 6? 5 short answer questions.
Yep, I have it.
First thing I want you to do, look at the short answer questions. You are actually going to change number 2. Number 2 is now going to ask this. Identify 2 supporting details that add to the author's argument. You're not answering 2 as it is written. You are answering.
Putting details.
That add to the author's argument.
What we use today?
Say it again.
Are we using what we use today?
Those are organizational patterns, which is different than supporting details. Supporting details are just evidence or statements that help boost the argument. Okay. Your job for the rest of the day, and you may work together. Read the article. Make healthier fast food choices. On the back of that article, I'll wait for everybody. On the back of that article is 5 multiple choice. And then you have the 5 short answer. What you do not finish today is homework this evening. Okay? So you have an article, 5 multiple choice, 5 short answer. You have the rest of the period. Go ahead and begin. I'll stop you with enough time to clean up.
Let's work together. Make healthier fast food. Read it to yourself.
Over there.
You're trying to